So my name's Suraya Duran, and I am a community parent rep at Eagle Rock Junior Senior High School. I've worked with LAUSD, actually, I'm a product of LAUSD. I'll say so that LAUSD has been part of my life from the very beginning. My stepdad was an LAUSD educator and bilingual coordinator for more than 20 plus years. So I find it very rewarding to give back to the community that paved the way for me, opened doors for myself and my daughter, but also seeing my dad be active with his UTLA union and being active with the membership and the issues that were impacting him as an educator back then in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s. So I've been with Local 99 since 2016, and I'm a big supporter of unions, and it's in my blood, it's in my family DNA. So it was natural for me to be a Local 99 member and to advocate to other colleagues about joining and the benefits of joining and the importance of joining. As a member leader at Local 99, I decided to step up because I saw that our school site needed it, really. They needed to be better informed and educated. There was no advocate per se within our campus. And I also realized that there was some apathy. You know, there really wasn't a movement or a team building of unionizing at the site. And it was like a challenge to even get information. You know, no one knew who to go to, who to talk to, who to seek advice from if they had a question about a concern. And early on in 2016, I will tell you that there were a lot of red flags for me that were concerns with colleagues that I worked with about their pay, stepping into a work site where they didn't have medical benefits. I thought it was concerning. It was disturbing for me to see that I was working amongst hardworking employees who were giving their heart. It's all about the heart of what they do. It's the love of what they do, of helping families and students achieve, and not being reaped the benefits of the work that they were giving. So I really wanted to step up because I felt that they deserved to have a voice and an advocate, but also be celebrated and given their due diligence of what they deserve, right? It should not be a lot to ask for to have medical and dental benefits. It should not be a lot to ask for to have reasonable pay wages in the city of Los Angeles at the second largest school district in the country. So I started to learn about that. I really started to realize there was a lot of work to be done. And it was baffling to me that all these years, these unsung heroes were not getting the wages or the benefits that they deserved, and continued to work and continued to give back to their school sites and to the district unconditionally. So that was really one of the main reasons why I stepped up. I didn't expect to go on strike. And because I was an empathetic advocator at my school site, a lot of the members turned to me for guidance, asking questions, trying to seek knowledge on what to do, and hearing that there could be a looming strike. And I didn't think twice about it. I will tell you that Local 99, when I needed, stepped up. When I had questions or concerns, they were always there, phone call away, an email away, or in certain challenging situations, willing to advocate on my behalf and others that I collaborate with. Was it a difficult decision? No. I would say the challenge for me was, wow, I'm actually going to be part of what I think could be a historic chapter in my life, and I want my daughter to see this. But I'm also going to be part of a movement that I grew up in, watching my stepdad go through. So it was really a turning point for me, but it was a full circle moment. I grew up in movements within the district, seeing these conversations play out in my household, and then my daughter was now seeing it. Even though she was at the college level, she was very well aware of what was going on because she would hear and see things at the school site or within the district during her time at LAUSD. And I had involved her in other strikes in the past. So whether it was UTLA, I wanted her to always understand the importance of advocating, the importance of fair wages, and the importance of speaking up and supporting and being part of those movements. My daughter was in college, but she was very well aware of what was going on. She's a student at UCLA, and she would call or text me. I really wanted her to be part of the strike, but I did educate her. She knew what was going on, so she could talk to her dorm mates about it or other friends of hers on campus about it. And I didn't hesitate to go on strike. I think the hesitation was, how am I going to mobilize and inspire these folks to understand that this risk-taking is worth the fight, right? It's worth the lucha, que sí se puede. And it really was having those genuine conversations about where are you today? And where were you 10 years ago? And are you in the same place? And how do you feel right now? Do you think you've made some headway within the district and within your job site? Do you think you're better today than you were 10 years ago? And it was striking to hear the feedback of how they were living paycheck to paycheck, having second, third jobs, juggling home life, and myself trying to understand the struggle. Like, these people were still holding on to the love of this job and not willing to give it up, but yet understood they weren't making the money and weren't having the benefits, and willing to make that up by getting other jobs at other locations. And that was just heart-wrenching for me to understand as a single mom. I too made some sacrifices, and I too made some modifications in my life to be there for my daughter and step up for her and be there with her education and ensure that she had the resources, tools, and success needed to get where she's at today at UCLA. So I understood that struggle, but it was just unfathomable to me to understand what was going on across the board, district-wide at this level. And so, deciding to strike for me was a no-brainer. I'm just gonna say it like that. I did it with a lot of passion, a lot of love. I felt that I was helping colleagues at my job site who gave to me. I looked at that job site because I went to middle school and high school there. And I thought, man, when I was there, that means those people who gave so generously to us were in that same position practically. And I realized I didn't want that to be the future for the next generation or for my daughter's generation. And I wanted to ensure that I lifted them up. They knew they were supported, that they didn't feel pressured. A lot of these conversations were open, one-on-one conversations, and it was about organizing. It was about organizing, sharing my story with them, and hearing them. So I was hearing them. What were their needs? What were their asks? What were, if they had a wish list, what was that wish list? So I gave them the platform to really have these conversations where they felt that I was listening and they were being heard, but also that I was going to have their back in any situation, right? I wasn't going to I was not going to be on the picket line with them. And I really kind of planted the seed of what it could look like, right? What did it look like when the teachers went on strike? What did it look like in years previously for them when they would see these? And how important it was for us to organize in numbers and to be on the same page together, that we were all in this together, that it wasn't going to be one or the other, that we were all on an equal playing field, and that we were going to have each other's back. That's how I looked at it, right? It was organizing, and we were one big family, teaming up together, and that we were going to have to educate our families and our students about this and what this strike meant. giving up even one day of work for these members is a lot. And I knew that we were saying it could be a couple days. We really don't know how long it will be, but that they had to know that the end result was going to be a win. You know, we went in with a winning team campaign, that we were going to join in numbers. I would say that, how did I feel the day before the strike? There were a lot of things personally going on in my world. I will tell you that I put my big girl pants on. I actually even ordered one of those bullhorns. I ordered purple gear. Not ordered. I had to order because of a medical situation I was in. But it was like purple scarf. It was rainy. Yeah, it was kind of the winter time. So it was like purple gear, purple scarf, purple whatever purple garb we had. It was like getting some of the plastic gear we needed in case it was going to rain. And collaborating with other team members, like when we could make posters. So we made posters together. We collaborated with the UTLA chair at our job site, and I really wore it, and I showed it on the campus. I had my game face. I never deviated from the fact that if we had to strike, we were going to be ready to go. That there was no gray area. It was like you were on board, and you were going to pay you were going to regret if you weren't going to be part of this. You know, that you wanted to join this bandwagon of a history-making moment. I would say there was nervousness, but there was also excitement. There was coordinating with the UTLA chair. It was mobilizing with a text message group chat, mobilizing with email. I think the text message group chat was how I remember, had so many different group chats. So it was like, here's the plan. Here's what we know. Here's what's going to be happening. Here's what you need to know. Meeting here. Then I remember we'd have to be at our site, and then we'd have to go to the other sites. So it was like, who was going to drive who? You know, okay, who was going to caravan? And it was like, okay, so-and-so is going to caravan. They can fit 4 and 5 people. I'll meet you there. I'll stay here. I'll be the last man standing here at the corner while everyone goes to like the Lincoln Heights site. I remember how inspiring it was to see the community support with honking of the horns and parents driving. Oh my God, that was the other thing I remember, is the outpouring of generosity within our Northeast community of my job site. It was like we were trying to figure out the snack shack situation if we could. And we had donations of water and families and students coming by and joining our picket line and bringing donuts and trail mix and granola bars. And we had parents from Eagle Rock Junior Senior High School and other community schools who essentially were communicating and texting their parents and their PTAs just to find out how they could support, or their boosters. What can we do? And they would bring their students to be part of the picket lines, and we had families be part of the picket lines in the morning. And that was really heartwarming for me. And it was heartwarming for me to see those that were on the picket line come with their little ones, whether it was their babies in hand. I remember we had a baby in hand. I think she was a couple months old. And we took a bunch of pictures of all that. And then we had elementary school kids with us. And if it was raining, whether it was cold, the sun was out, we were there in numbers, and we were making noise. And I will say that I was touched. I have to say this about my school site, because the administrators came out and brought snacks for us and joined us and supported us, and just basically said they were, they wanted to show that solidarity, and that was really cool. You don't see that all the time, and I think that meant a lot. I remember the pictures we would take, the Kodak moments, of all of us together outside of our school site, or at the different rallies that were going on at different times of the day. So I felt very inspired. I felt very excited. I witnessed this energy that I hadn't seen within my job site, and everyone consistently showed up. That's the one thing I remember. I didn't feel alone, and others took the bullhorn and chanted when maybe they wanted to give me a break. Others took the lead in forming the lines. Others took the lead in sharing information with me so I could let others know, or maybe sharing pictures. So they really started to step up and show up. And I will always remember that. That to me was where we really built the teammanship. And I think till this day, we have that solidarity, we have that camaraderie, we have each other's backs. It's a different it's a different level of friendship at the job site. You know, we have a different level of friendship because we went through the struggle together, and we went through the win together. Being part of those massive rallies was overwhelming. It was as if the city of Los Angeles stopped for those days. That's what it felt like to me. I don't know. I saw numbers I hadn't seen. I would see aerial views of, numbers and crowds. My family was reaching out to me. My daughter was telling me, wow, it was impressive to see that the district employees who were impacted came out in numbers, and other parts of the country, in fact, all over the country, we were being watched, we were being seen, and we were being heard. And it was a really great feeling to see that we were making national headlines. We were being seen nationally on broadcast news, on social media news, and even local outlets. But I have family all over the country, and from the East Coast to the Midwest, my family was reaching out and asking about it and seeing it. And that was something that I never expected as this strike happened. I was inspired by the speeches. I was inspired by the leadership of SEIU and the president. Reading the LA Times and seeing quotes was just very, very inspiring. But I would say it was heart-wrenching even to hear the stories of folks that were willing to allow themselves to be vulnerable and share on live TV what their struggle was. That takes a lot of courage. And I would get emotional when I would hear those stories, read those stories, or see those stories on TV or even on the newspaper headlines. Because then it made me realize, wow, it's not just Eagle Rock. This is like across the board. And this is unbelievable that this has gone on for so long and nothing has been done. We made noise with the school board, and I was okay making that noise. We had parents that wanted to step up and ask, can we email our school board member? They couldn't believe what they were hearing. They couldn't believe there weren't benefits. They couldn't believe their, vacation was almost nearly non-existent. They couldn't believe that the pay was so low, and there were jobs in the city of LA, even fast food workers that might have had better benefits than members who were with SEIU at the LA Unified School District level. So those were some of the notable events, I would say. It was great to have the collaboration with the teachers and UTLA and other unions. That was the other thing. I'm a proud SAG-AFTRA union member, and they stepped up and they would put posts on their social media, and they would collaborate with other, like the Teamsters and other unions, to support the rallies and support in efforts in different ways within that time. And that was really exciting to see that mobilizing and that organizing. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I knew that we were ever going to win, but I knew that we were a part of history, and I was definitely very proud of that. I was proud that my daughter could see that, and that my daughter knows today I'm telling the story, and that I'm being asked to share that story. So she knows the importance and the value of that, because I don't ever want her to be at a work site where she doesn't feel empowered to speak up when something's not right, or that she doesn't advocate for herself and for others. And so, and the power of the union. I always tell her, she had a summer gig at Universal Studios, and she had an opportunity, I remember this because it was after the strike, to join the union. I was like, it's a no-brainer. But she understood the union aspect of it, and so she came to me and we talked about that. When the agreement happened, I actually was with PTA leaders having lunch and I got a phone call from a campus aide. And I broke down in tears. I was with 2 PTA leaders, and we just couldn't believe it. And our phones were blowing up after that. And it was just shocking. It was like, oh my God, I have to go home to watch the news. I was like, I got to go home. I was limited at that time, so I couldn't really move around a lot. So some things were challenging for me. It was a very challenging time in my life, but I stepped up. I was like, I'm going to do this. My daughter called me, and so she was excited, and she couldn't believe it. And the campus aide that called me said, I can't believe it. They actually listened to us. They actually heard us. For the first time, I feel seen. And to hear a campus aide tell me that, and to hear a special ed assistant tell me that, was just like, wow, like they realized, wow, we actually made a difference. They were thanking me. I had so many thank yous, from the UTLA chair to the teachers there, but really, I thank them because they are the unsung heroes. These members at local SCIU 99, at Local 99, give their hearts to what they do day in and day out, and they do it with a lot of love. And so I just think it was the right thing to do. It was long overdue, and there's still more work to be done. The bottom line is we're not done. And our I wouldn't say our mission, but our slogan during that time was "Si se puede." A lot of the UFW kind of fight that we would, talk about with Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, kind of talk about what they went through, what those struggles were, and how important it was to stay with it, right? It was great to see a lot of big names out there show up at the picket lines in Hollywood, or with unions, or with the city. It was great to see other activists and other advocates come out and support. And I think the national support, I think that was great. The fact that nationally folks were talking about what is going on at LAUSD and what they've been making, how much, and they don't have benefits. I mean, I had family members within my circle asking me what they just couldn't believe it. Parents were saying the same thing, who were products of LAUSD, never knew the backstory or the history of what these members and these workers had endured and gone through. So our agreement reached. I mean, the higher wage was incredible. The back pay was incredible. The fact that there is more job stability, right? The fact that they can go to a Kaiser and they can go take their kid to get their teeth cleaned and have that coverage. May sound trivial to someone, but it goes a long way for a family that may be struggling and may have a lot of mouths to feed. And in the city of LA, with the costs being that they are, it goes a long way. These people were paying out of pocket and sometimes just not even taking care of their health. And for the LAUSD and the city of LA to not support that, to me, would just be inhumane. It's the least they could have done. I say the benefits are the least they could have done. Let's see. When I heard the details, what stood out the most, I think what stood out the most was the fact that I felt like Local 99 got a lot of what they asked for. They got a lot of what they asked for. I felt like it was a win-win. I mean, even post that historic moment, I feel like there's a lot more skip to a lot more like energy to the skip that these employees have. They were always doing it with heart, but they now have that confidence and they now feel valued, and that goes along. That is so meaningful in itself, that at the district level and at the school board level, that they were acknowledged. and that they weren't shortchanged in these negotiations and in the agreement. When it came to back pay, when it came to pay, when it came to upping their income, when it came to vacation time, when it came to benefits. I would say that when I heard the details, I think I was just shocked. I'll be honest with you. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. To me, it was like, wow, they got everything. At that time, it felt like they got everything, right? And going back to work was, for all of us, was like, we're going to keep doing what we do, which is work. We're going to work with heart. We're going to lead with empathy. We're going to ensure that families are taken care of. And we're going to ensure that students achieve. For us, it didn't change what we do, but it allowed us to thrive even more. I see Local 99 members thriving and surviving. Before it was like struggling and trying to survive. Now they're thriving. And I think that is so impactful and so important post-pandemic. It just killed me that they had to struggle even more during the pandemic. And going back to work was like we mobilized, we decided we were all going to come into the school together. We had the bullhorns out, we made a lot of noise, and we came in together. We embraced, there were a lot of tears, there were a lot of cheers, and then it was going back to work and doing what we do. Lessons that I learned from the strike, lessons, resiliency. I mean, resiliency, organizing, being transparent, being empathetic, being genuine, being humble. I think that's important. You know, we made huge historic headway, but being humble about it, being gracious about it, and knowing that there's still more work to be done, and knowing that the fight doesn't end with just that one agreement. There's still more work to be done. There's always more work to be done. You can never let your guard down. That's the other thing. You can never just get too comfortable and assume that everything is good to just fall into place and be taken care of. And I think advocating, organizing, and coming together as one team made a difference for everyone, and really was the lesson learned for me, that this can be done, that it may have felt overwhelming in the beginning of this, because I was kind of thrown in the lion's pit. I'll be honest with you, it was baptism by fire for me. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I realized I had eyes on me and folks leaning on me to step up. And I just went with it. I did it for the love of my school. I did it for the love of my teachers and staff, and for the school that, you know, paved the way for me and paved the way for my daughter. I knew it was the right thing to do. I didn't know what I was doing, but I will tell you, I was in good hands with Local 99. They did not make me ever feel like I was alone in the movement. They were there every step of the way. It was like communication was great, letting me know what was great, what to do was great. It was just, I felt supported. I never felt alone in it, and I think that was the biggest lesson learned, is having that support. And in the end, you know, it's a full circle moment for me to be an LAUSD product and be part of this historic movement. And I am humbled and honored to be part of this LA history as a native Angelino. So thank you.
There was the question for future members of SEIU Local 99, listening to this story of yours years from now, what wisdom do you want to pass on to them? If you feel like you've already answered it when you said it.
The wisdom I would want to pass on is to never not speak up, to never just stay silent, to never feel bad for asking a question or for being involved in your union. I think there was some of that, like, oh, I don't want to be part of the union because I don't want to get in trouble with my higher ups, or I'm scared, or being a member of the union might ruffle some feathers. You should absolutely embrace the membership, be proud of being part of a union that will take care of you, and not be afraid to lift your voice and advocate for yourself or for a colleague. That's the one thing I could pass on, is understand your value as an employee always at the workplace, and understand what your rights are, and get involved in your union to better educate yourself and educate others. That is the one thing, is I got involved to better understand what my rights were and what I needed to know to pass on to the members within my school site. By not getting involved, by not knowing, by not asking questions, by not going to a meeting, you're not going to be educated, and you're not going to know how to better advocate for you and those around you within your job site. So I would say that would be one woman's wisdom. Do not do nothing.